The next question we are going to solve is the ninth one. What is the projected number of EV sales including two-wheelers and four-wheelers for the top 10 states by penetration rate in 2030 based on the compound annual growth rate from previous year? They are asking us to find the how much EV can be sold in 2030 for the top 10 states by penetration rate. And we need to find that future sales based on compound annual growth rate. I will tell you how to find out that. I am going to create a new measure called projected EV sales for 2030. Projected EV sales. The first thing we need to find out is the current year EV sales value per state. Our latest year is 2024 in our data set, right? We need to find out the fiscal year 2024's EV sales value for per state. Whenever you need to filter down the data, you need to use the calculate function, and this is one of the most used function in the Power BI. The expression is total EV sales per state. From this measure, I only need the value for the fiscal year 2024. And now click enter. Now you can see that this measure giving us the fiscal year 2024 EV sales value per state. But when I filter this measure by quarter, this is changing. When I click quarter 2, this only shows us the EV sales value for quarter 2. When I click quarter 3, it only gives us the EV sales value for quarter 3. But for our use case in this formula, this measure should not be changed. It should give the total year sales, the fiscal 2024, the total year sales, even the filter is applied. So I'm going to modify this formula. Go to the measure and here add one extra comma and type all, and in that all that we need to give a table or a column. I'm going to give the entire date table and close the bracket and click enter. And now when I apply the quarter filter, this measure is not changing. It gives us the whole fiscal year value for 2024. How it works, I will explain it. Now let's talk about this part in our formula. The goal here is simple. I want to get the total EV sales for a state in the year 2024, no matter what other filters are applied in the report. If I didn't use the all function here, something strange could happen. Let's say I filter my dashboard to quarter 2 of 2024, my measure could only return quarter 2 sales, not the whole year. But for our formula, for our use case, we always want the full year sales as the base, not partial data. This all function basically says, hey Power BI, ignore any filter coming from the date table. This means it will remove the quarter or month filter that's currently active in the visual. After removing all date filters, we then add back our own filter, that is only give me the fiscal year 2024 value. So now no matter if my page is filtered to quarter 2 or quarter 3 or even a single month, Power BI will ignore those filters and always go and fetch the end date 2024 sales for the state. Think of it like this. The all function clears the whiteboard of any date restrictions. Then this writes only one line on the board, show me 2024. That's why when I select the quarter slicer, my measure didn't react to it. It stays fixed for the full year of 2024. And now I am going to store this in a variable called current year sales. And now we need the CAGR for EV sold by state. And I'm going to get a new variable. And we have already created that measure called CAGR for EV sold by state. And now we need the current year and the future year. The current year is and the current year is 2024, and the future year is and the future year is 2030, right? And now we need to find the year to the project. And the year to the project is future year minus current year. And now whenever you use a variable function, you need to use the return function. And now we will create the formula to find the future sales. The formula is current year sales multiply, open a bracket, and 1 plus the CAGR for states, close bracket, and to the power of year to the project. And now click enter. The projected EV sales for 2030 is 54 million EV vehicles. The total for all state, 54 million EV vehicle is the projected EV sales for 2030. But there is also can be an issue in this formula. What if the CAGR for a state, can be any state, what if the CAGR for a state is 0 or blank value? If it is 0, we will get error in our report. So I am here going to use the if condition. So just say if not is blank, and in the bracket I am going to type the CAGR for state and close the bracket and type comma. And if the CAGR for state is not blank, then only work on this formula, otherwise just give me blank and type enter. And now our formula is ready to find the projected EV sales for 2030. And I have used here +1 because earlier in the CAGR formula we have created to only get the actual growth rate, we have here the -1 to only get the actual growth rate. But in our projected EV sales for 2030 formula, we need the whole amount. That's why I added here the +1. And they want to see the data based on the top 10 states by the penetration rate. We have already created this visual which has the top 5 states by the penetration rate. So copy paste it and transform this visual into a table and go to the filter settings. In states, enter 10 and click apply filter. And now we have got the top 10 states by the penetration rate. And add the CAGR for EV sold by states, and then the new measure we have created, the projected EV sales for 2030. And you can see that this number is too much big, and I think it is easy to consume if the number was in millions. So click the visual, go to format and click specific column. Here select the projected EV sales for 2030 and go to display units and click millions, and decimal places is 2. And now this visual is easily consumable. They asked us to show the projected EV sales for 2030. But as an analyst, it's not just about designing a dashboard and handling it over. We need to think beyond the request. That's why I also added CAGR and penetration rate. This extra context helps decision makers see not just where we will be, but how fast and we are getting to there and how deeply EVs are penetrating each state. From the data, Goa has the highest penetration rate of 9.84% and huge CAGR of 146%. Maharashtra and Kerala stand out with both high CAGR and large projected sales of 13.35 million and 11.78 million respectively. And Tamil Nadu has lower CAGR of 59% and penetration rate of 4.3%, meaning growth will be slower compared to other states. And overall CAGR across states is 93% with total projected 2030 sales of 40.26 million units, indicating a massive shift toward EV adaptation. Adding these extra metrics make your work stand out, and it says this analyst doesn't just report numbers, they uncover stories. And that's how you will be stand out in your field.